Okay, so Simon has dropped his super disturbing video, supposedly. He said, I'm not comfortable posting the full video, but I figured I could share the second half, so let's watch it. Okay, I guess it's just a Torque making pizza. Yeah. Perfect. Okay, some salt, cheese, normal stuff. Into the pizza oven. Okay, I don't see what's so... Oh. Because if we go... Oh. Oh no. So that was Simon's super disturbing Hytale animation. For better or worse, it is from a dev who no longer works at Hypixel, which I guess is silver lining. I have checked against a bunch of photos and videos of Kweebecks from before, and we've never actually seen a Kweebeck that has this triple leaf shape. But we all know that it's a Kweebeck leaf. I assume that the parts of the video they cut out were where the Torque was preparing the Kweebeck. Now I'm even doubting where the firewood for this pizza oven came from. So really, just awful video. Anyways, moving away from that disgusting piece of footage that the Hytale team unanimously voted not to post the entirety of, let's sprint through the most important Hytale news from the past few days. There are like 8 separate things that deserve their own videos, but I have no time for that right now. The most important thing is that Hytale did get regional pricing ready for select countries. I know Brazil is one of them, ready for pre-orders, so all of our Brazilian friends can get all 3 versions of Hytale at a reduced price, which is just amazing. Having Hytale playable on controllers is a high priority for Hypixel after the game has launched, and Simon dropped a list of other changes and improvements that the Hytale team is planning on making after Hytale launches, along with a warning not to buy the game if you are not comfortable with early access. His list includes making the world more alive, adding combat content, dungeons, bosses, and challenges, probably including the many existing but unconfigured weapons in Hytale, and many of the bosses we've been shown before. Simon wants to finish World Gen V2 to restore Orbis. I think this is important for the lore, you'll find out why in a little bit. He wants to support modders and incorporate mod discovery and installation into the game, develop official minigames and let servers outcompete them, adding social features like friends, guilds, which are basically a large group of friends with a group chat, and proximity chat, yay! As well as complete adventure mode with quests, possible voice actors, cinematics, and other cool systems that I'm super hyped for, parental controls, automation, please Simon, I would love to share my ideas with you, accessibility options, lighting improvements, community engagement, and more. I mentioned that restoring Orbis is an important idea, and that's because Simon referenced Hytale's release date, saying, "See you all in the Echoes of Orbis, capital E, capital O." This means that the Echoes of Orbis is a place, and my theory, which I will hopefully make a full video on later, is that this is where early access will occur, or at least the beginnings of it. The Echoes of Orbis refers to the area built by World Gen V1, and our adventure in early access will largely take place there. We'll then use gateways like the one at the end of the Cursebreaker gameplay to access True Orbis, a parallel world built by World Gen V2, as Simon said that World Gen V2 will exist partially at launch, but would be a spoiler to explain how it exists. Eventually, as part of the Cursebreaker arc, Orbis will be restored when World Gen V2 is fully released. Whether or not World Gen V1 and the Echoes of Orbis remain in the game after that point is anyone's guess. I wouldn't be surprised to see it as like a tutorial world, but maybe it's only played once per player rather than at the beginning of every adventure mode world. Who knows? Flipping to a totally different topic, dev/null told us that we'll all be able to swap our Hytale usernames every 30 days. Simon opened up applications to the Hytale Supported Creator program, so if you are a modder, mapmaker, streamer, YouTuber, or artist who wants the chance to get some kickback from your work, send an email to creators@hytale.com and they may let you in. However, they supposedly are going to take quite a while to support requests, and I am sure that there are a ton of them coming through. Slikey had some exciting server news for us, saying that they successfully ran a playtest with 70 people on a server for 45 minutes, and then the server crashed. He also said that minigame servers will have significantly lower hardware requirements compared to SMP servers for a given player count, as there is far less world to load in those cases. The team is also working towards improving performance to allow for huge Anarchy servers, civilization sims, and all of the other things that require a ton of players on one server. Next, he posted a visualization of all Hytale's 400 branches being collapsed into one when they bought the game from Riot, although all I can think of watching this is like watching creatures through a microscope. That little thing looks so much like a hydra wiggling around, I just love it. Maybe I'm too much of a nerd and that made no sense to everyone else, but if you can relate, let me know in the comments. Zones are being reviewed by the team for several reasons. First, Infinite Worlds now work with World Gen V1. Hopefully, these will now be the default, since Simon had previously said that they would default to finite worlds. Either way, Infinite Worlds should be ready in time for Hytale's launch. They're making sure that they don't have super small zones near spawn, which make finding larger ones super hard, and currently have that working for Zone 1, but not Zones 2, 3, or 4. They also want to lock in names for each of the zones instead of using numbers, which previously we did have names for these, being the Emerald Grove, the Howling Sands, Borea, and the Devastated Lands, but these may change a little for clarity. The idea of having a central spawn continent and infinite lands beyond it, like we had been previously expecting, is tough to replicate with an infinite world. Simon thinks it's a good idea, but they haven't got time to develop the tech to accomplish that before launch, unless Simon's early prototypes are super lucky and just nail it on the head right away. Simon also clarified that players won't spawn in Orbis, rather they will spawn in the Echoes of Orbis, which is exactly what I said. Hytale has a 95% chance of launching with a native Linux version according to Slikey, and Mac hasn't been analyzed, but is looking good for either launch at the same time as the other platforms or the week after the other platforms launch. A couple of videos ago, I said, and generally, I'm starting to get the vibes that Slikey regrets pursuing a native Linux version because Linux users seem to doubt every single decision he makes, and Slikey proved me right by crashing out on Discord. He's annoyed by Linux users having so many individual demands considering they make up barely a percentage of the player base, and they've had to avoid certain attitudes to be compatible with Linux to begin with. He's seen so many differing opinions that he says he's about to crash out, although, Slikey sweetie, you kinda already did. That's all the news we have time for today. I'm halfway through my exams, wish me luck on my last 3. I have one in 13 hours. Yeah, I definitely shouldn't have spent the time to make this video. I should be studying right now. And during my exams, I have actually thought of what videos I want to make about Hytale once it comes out. It'll be a series called Hytale, like, you know, science and Hytale. Great pun. Anyways, if you want to learn more, drop a comment down below and let me know, and maybe I'll make a video explanation about it sometime before launch. And until then, stay hypey, and to any of my other university friends who are going through exams right now, best of luck, happy studies.